Hey, it's Keith B here, and I'm back in the lab again. Just wanted to make a guide on how to deal with throws defensively. I talked about in my last video about how it's really good to throw people in this game. Everyone at my local is getting thrown. Everybody in pools is using throws, and it's super effective in Tekken 8 compared to Tekken 7. So, seems like a good idea to talk about defending against throws and how to train to defend against them. In fact, somebody asked me about that just the other day, and I realized my throw break guide is from Tekken 7, so I need to update it. So here goes nothing. I first want to talk about like how throws actually work, which is there's a type of throw called generic throws. That's what Paul's doing here, and we can break these by mashing either punch button. You input these by doing either both left punch and left kick or right punch and right kick at the same time, and you'll know it's a generic throw whenever you break one, by the way. See how they have these like custom, they're not the same throw break for the left hand and the right hand. They have these custom throw break animations because these generics are specific to the character. So maybe the name generic throw isn't the right term, but that's how these throws work, and they can be broken with either punch button. Now, the other type of throw are command throws. So, oh, I didn't mean to do that. The other type of throw are command throws, and so if I were to have him do his 1+2 throw here, I can break this by doing 1+2. So with command throws, you have to break the button that corresponds to the hands that they're using. So he's reaching with both hands, so that's a 1+2 break. Whoops. So both hands, 1+2 break. Paul has what we would call a complete throw game because he has the 1 break, he has the 2 break, and he has the 1+2. And so you have to actually respond by hitting the correct button that corresponds to which hand he's reaching with. He keeps doing 1+2 throws to me. I don't know why he keeps doing the 1+2. There's the 1. Okay, that shows he's got all 3 breaks. So if you go into training mode and your throw breaks aren't quite that clean, that's okay. I'll show you how you can train them up. There's a couple other things about throws that make throws more effective in Tekken 8 before we get to that, though. The first thing is going to be Counterhit. On Counterhit, throws are harder to break. You get this like explosion sound now in patch 1.04, but you can actually break them. I can still break them. You just have to be fast. Now, I definitely don't recommend if you're brand new to Tekken, you just start training how to break Counterhit throws, because that is probably not going to yield you the most success. In fact, most of the people who I play against at like the Tekken Emperor, Tekken God level still aren't really breaking counter hit throws. The only people I know who break counter hit throws are like Tag 2 players, because in Tekken 6 and Tag 2 and older games, the throw break window was shorter. You had less frames to input the break, and that's what they do on counter hit throws. They shorten the throw break window. So people who already trained that shortened throw break window in the past games, they're able to break counter hit throws kind of effectively. But for the rest of us, all of us Tekken 7 and later Tekken players, they're still pretty hard to break. So don't beat yourself up if you're having trouble breaking counter hit throws. I'm having trouble breaking them too. The last kind of situation where you get a throw here is on Power Crush, right? If you do a Power Crush, you can just grab them right out of the start up of the Power Crush. And that throw, it makes the explosion sound, but it's completely guaranteed. I don't care if you're God, I don't care if you're Speed Kicks, I don't care if you're Arslan Ash, you're not breaking this throw. If you get this throw, it's guaranteed. So this is another reason that throws are good, right? And a cool little bonus tip here is if the Power Crush whiffs, it still is a guaranteed throw. So for like a character like June who can duck a high Power Crush, she can actually launch punish it with a throw, which kind of a nice little quality of life thing. If you have a throw from crouch, you can use that to punish Power Crushes that you duck. So that's the throw system in Tekken 8, and it is pretty effective. The counter hit window, the guarantee on Power Crush, and then the other thing about throws is they are actually homing. Like if I were to have Paul here just do like jab throw, for example, it's not a situation where I can step this throw. So that is catching people. A lot of people are not used to sidestepping and then having to immediately break a throw. So it's even at high level Tekken, you'll see high level players are getting hit by this in like, top 8s and stuff. They're doing like sidestep and they're getting thrown and they're not always breaking it. So The fact that throws have so much coverage, they're so strong on counter hit, and they just beat power crushes clean makes them effective. If you're just starting out with training throws, I'm going to recommend you learn to first break your generics, because generics are the easiest to break. You just mash punches. Easy. Now, the problem is, this isn't going to get you very far, because everybody starting around green ranks has realized that command throws are really good. So what they're doing is they're mostly just going to throw the 1+2, right? So, and most characters in Tekken only have a 1+2 command throw. So if you're just brand new, you can go ahead and bind both punch buttons to a button. I have it right here on my right pinky finger. Right next to my 1 punch, my 2 punch, I have a 1+2 button, right? And I use it for all sorts of things. But the main thing I want to use it for is I'm using this as a 1+2 throw break. And you can just consider that like your throw tech button if you're just starting out. The 1+2, you can see it's going to do a lot more damage too than a generic normally would. And he gets Oki off of that as well. So it's fine to just break 1+2s and not even look at the hands if you just bought the game 10 minutes ago and you're like, how do I break throws? If you're a little bit more advanced, like, you know, you're like, say, getting near like red ranks or something, I would recommend starting to train the difference between generic throws and 1+2 throws. And to do that, you're going to want to record both your generics and a 1+2 and just have the bot go ahead and do it. And all you have to really look for is it that 1+2 animation? The 1+2 animation, he reaches with both hands here. You can see that. And you want to just go ahead and mash that 1+2 as soon as he is. And if it's not, it doesn't matter which punch button you hit. As long as you can catch the 1+2 break, you're good to go. So if this is fairly consistent, well then congratulations. You can break most of the character's throws in this game. Some characters, like our guy Paul here, have what we would call complete throw game, meaning he's got a 1, 2, and 1+2 command throw. So let me just have him do this here. I'll show you what it looks like. That's his 1 throw. If I hit 2, I'm not breaking it. I have to hit 1 to break it. So if I'm mashing my 2 punch, no bueno. So what happens to a lot of people is they mash jab, right? And when you're mashing jab, you die to 2 throws because you're mashing jab, right? I just broke it without thinking. You're mashing jab, and the jab, once you hit the jab, the 1 input, that registers as a wrong throw break, and it locks you out of being able to do the other throw break. So it's very important that you don't mash when you're practicing these throw breaks and in matches, and you wait for the throw and react to it. It's not that hard of a reaction, but there's a lot of things in Tekken that are not that hard that you have to react to, and when you combine them all, it can be a lot. Which one is the 1+2? Is it this one? No. We're gonna want these 3. So if you're ready to start training up your throws, oh, I got counter hits somehow. If you're ready to start training up your throws, start on P1 side. And unless you play on P2 side more. If you start on P2 side, play on P2 side more. And get a character like Paul, or Jin, or Dragunov, someone with all 3 throw breaks. There's only a handful of characters in the game that have all 3 throw breaks. You can add Jack to that list. King, of course, although if you have questions about King specific throws, just check my King guide out. I'll put a link in the card. So what we're going to do is we're going to have him do it, and I'm focusing on looking at the hands. And the key is you don't want to press until you confirm which hand he's reaching with. If you mash early like this, you're going to lock yourself out of the break. So you have to teach yourself to not guess, but to wait and just hit the correct button. You will still get thrown. It's not going to look this good when you start. Why do you keep 1 throwing me, Paul? He's a troll. So the key is, and I could not do it this well, especially this well while talking when I first started out. It took like years of practicing my throw breaks and also playing in matches. Here's the thing. It's okay if you're late to your throw break when you're practicing. That is totally cool. You don't want to mash early and lock yourself out of your throw break. And if you are patient and you wait to see the hands, then you're going to, over time, if you do this like 20 minutes a day, you're going to be able to start breaking these throws in matches. It's also very important, once you're pretty decent on player 1, you start to feel confident, here is the humbler. You're going to go on player 2 side, and it's not going to be as easy. It's worth noting here, if we look at Paul's hands, by the way, Tekken does not mirror, like Street Fighter would mirror the sprite. You're not mirrored in Tekken. So when you're on player 1 side, the left hand, which is the lead hand, is going to be in the background. June's a bad example because her stance is kind of weird. But if Paul goes to player... break my throat. If he goes to player 2 side, his left hand, his lead hand, is now in the foreground. So he does not mirror. And you can even see, like, it's a little hard to see that right hand, especially if you get a little off axis, right? Over here, it's like, oh, it's a little hard to see his throw breaks now. So that might screw up your throw breaking as well. So over here, his left hand is in the background. His right hand is now in the foreground. So when the foreground hand reaches forward, that's a 1 break, and vice versa. So you really have to train your brain to think in terms of right and left and not in terms of background and foreground. And I will definitely mess up if I stay over here on player 2 side, because my player 2 breaks are a little bit shaky still. I'm not going to lie. He got me. I told you. So practice on both sides, and good things can happen. Now you might be wondering, hey, what about counter hit throws? Should we just go ahead and practice those right away? And I would say hold off on practicing to break counter hit throws until you can, if you can break throws about as well as me, and you're like, well, should I practice counter hit throws? I'm practicing how to break counter hit throws. I'm still kind of whack at them. They're hard to break. It's a situation where I'm not used to doing this. I trained something else for a couple years, and now I have something new to learn. I mentioned earlier, like, Tag 2 players can do this fairly consistently. So if you want to start adding this to your repertoire, I think breaking counter hit throws is going to be a very valuable skill to have in Tekken 8. But don't freak out if you're not breaking every counter hit throw right away. This is a pretty difficult exercise to deal with. But, if you get warmed up, if I'm warmed up, I can break these. It's just a matter of doing it in a match. And you are going to find, initially, your throw breaks in training mode are clean. And then you go to a match, and you're still getting thrown. That's okay. That's not anything to freak out about. It's a matter of focus. And you have to keep training your throws when that happens so that the throw breaks are pure muscle memory. And you do it instinctively without thinking. And the only way that you can turn something into a reflex like that is by doing it over and over and over and over again. And that's where the training mode comes in. Just grind it in training mode. I used to do this. I don't do it anymore. But when I was really trying to up my throw breaks, I would grind 20 minutes a day, every single day. I would literally wake up, turn on Tekken, and just break throws while drinking coffee. Whether I had to go to work that day or I had other stuff to do that day, I was still just going to break throws every single day at the start of the day. Now, that can help you go and get those throw breaks in there quicker. Maybe you don't want to grind that much in training mode. That's okay too. You could also just do a little bit of throw break practice a week and focus on trying to break the throws in matches. And the more you learn about the game, the more you play the game, the more you learn about characters, the easier it's going to be to break throws. So my kind of parting words for you are, don't get upset and don't freak out if throw breaks are hard for you. I promise it's not that difficult to react to. I'm in my 30s, I can break throws, and my reactions are not what they used to be. So it's more about being able to recognize the animations in Tekken than having to react to anything super fast. Like, I used to react to forward dashes in Street Fighter V. That was like the 16 frame dashes, and people used to react to those. There's nothing like that in Tekken. It's like all much wider windows with much more telegraphed animation. So don't despair. Throw breaks will come eventually. These are some exercises you can do. I'm not a big drill person. I don't do a lot of drills in training mode. I recommend, if you do want a more elaborate throw break drill, PhiDX has a great video on that, and I'll link it in the description for anyone who's looking for something a little more in terms of a throw break drill. In the meantime, I hope you all have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next time.